as if this is not recognized as our home. I would like to address the country on what has possibly created this kind of situation. Number one is the two centers of power that we have in the party today. In 2012, when our founding father decided to leave the leadership of FDC, it was generally accepted that there was a need to fight the dictator leading a cruel junta using two prongs. The first prong that we prescribed as medicine to this dictatorship was activism, or defiance as it's commonly known. The second was elections. The formation of the People's Government, whose founding I was part of, was meant to reclaim our victory of 2016 using civil disobedience. Of course, we ran several campaigns together with the president, the people's president, Dr. Kizza Besigye, running risky ventures across the country, some of which led to fatalities, including death. And therein lies our foundation. Therein is our DNA, the foundation of which was built on defiance, the foundation of which was watered by the blood of common Ugandans. After a number of years of close working together, today there is a contestation whether elections are useful in ousting the Museveni dictatorship. With People's Government declaring war on elections through transition now, no elections campaign. This approach conflicts with Article 12 of the FDC Constitution, which commands members to register and vote and to canvass for votes. Ironically, the Deputy President of the People's Government, who also doubles as the Lord Mayor of Kampala, Elias Lukwago, continues to hold an elective office, making it unbelievable that this is a serious campaign that is being brought to Ugandans. I see this as the highest hypocrisy amongst some of our colleagues who have chosen to preach water but drink wine. The FDC maintains that both elections and activism are powerful and useful tools and will be used hand in hand in our bid to bring down the dictatorship in Uganda. For any organization to strive, there is a need to have one central command. Today, the FDC finds herself having two competing centers of power, one residing at number 6 Katonga Road and the other at Najanankumbi. Both these centers of power are fighting for the same political space. We are going to be trying to work within a very short time to narrow the gap between the two in order for us to work in harmony. The second issue that seems to be bringing this conflict is the issue relating to our election of 2021. As the country is aware, the FDC took a resolution to participate and field candidates in every position as much as possible. I was FDC flag bearer and definitely took the lead in this entire campaign on behalf of FDC in 2021 general elections, mainly in defense of my party. I took a great risk and made great sacrifices because I had the option of running and winning as Member of Parliament. We had piled pressure on Dr. Kizza Besigye, who had earlier declined to run for the 5th time. I am sure there were better prepared members of FDC to run in my place, but I firmly believe that some of them didn't do so for the reason of political preservation, which is really a natural political phenomenon. I was abandoned by people I worked with, and for many years, I ran a long campaign supported by a few fearless and committed comrades. And I wish to thank them so dearly for standing above self-interest. It is very strange that the same people who were sitting up there at the high table in Zambia, whenever I went to their areas, they just ran away from me. They hid from me. I came to Kampala here, I didn't see the Lord Mayor of Kampala, even if he boasts of having a 200,000 strong support within the city. And this happened everywhere, and there is evidence to that effect. Those proponents of the Zambia meeting decided to betray the party and the cause of the struggle. This act of hostility to the party, including campaigning against our official flag bearers, is a hostility to the party for which it's never too late to proceed under our constitution. Funding of the 2021 elections, which seems to be one of the biggest interests that is in the news now in our country, was one of our greatest challenges during the campaign and the election processes. A resolution to borrow from friendly sources without interest was passed by the Working Committee and the National Executive Committee, chaired by my then Deputy, Owechitibwa Joyce Nabosa Sebugwao. To the best of my knowledge, a borrowing was made and accountability for all funds spent made to the first Working Committee and NEC preceding the 2021 general elections. The audited accounts have since been presented to the National Council and the Electoral Commission. Non-public disclosure of some sources of funds for the campaigns, disclosure of some sources of funds for the campaigns is not possible because throughout our life as a party, we have maintained a policy where sources of funding that don't wish to be disclosed are kept confidential. And we got to take note of this. We are not going to the marketplaces to betray people who have supported us financially. Some of them are in business. Some of them may be working in government, but do not believe in the government of the day. Some of them may be ordinary citizens who may not want to be disclosed. And so the last thing we shall do is to betray our allies. This is meant definitely to protect our funders from wanton attacks by the junta. The allegation of funds received from hostile groups by the party was made by our founding president in 2020. In private, he claimed that he had intelligence information that money had been received by the party from the Museveni establishment. It took us 2 years to try quietly to resolve this matter without much success. So this is not a matter of yesterday. It's something that has been hovering around for nearly 3 years now. This accusation came to light, to public light, during the 15th National Council meeting held on 25th to 26th November 2022, raised by our founding president, Dr. Kizza Besigye. We decided that the media would be left out of that particular session because we wanted to discuss internal matters, and therefore this was not captured in the cameras. The acrimony arising from the debate moved the council to resolve to have an elders reconciliation committee set up using the procedures of the party. And these were nominated by me, taken to working committee, which is the cabinet of the president, taken to the National Executive Committee, approved by the National Executive Committee. I was asked by NEC to go and contact the protagonists in this area, which were thought to be Nathan Nandala on one side and Dr. Kizza Besigye on the other, with the list and the terms of reference. Each of them consented to both the list of elders approved by NEC and the terms of reference. What that meant is that this committee was given the confidence of everybody, including our friends who sit in NEC, who sit on working committee, who decided to go and address their grievances in the media. The main accuser and the accused and other top leaders of the party appeared before the committee. It was my expectation that well-meaning members of the party would wait for the elders committee report. What happened in Zambia is a case of blackmail, dishonesty, coupled with fear for internal elections. The meeting held in Zambia once again raised the same accusations with just a few days to the 16th National Council meeting that shall be held next week on Friday, the 28th July 2023. Our accusers offer no new evidence of fault conducted. And so, for me, really, we have been accused not once or twice. We are subject of endless attacks on allegations being handled by the Elders Committee. The Zambia consultative meeting was one way meant to subvert the report of the Elders Reconciliation Committee, which is an act of sacrilege against the National Council and by default all the other organs of the party. I wish to state for the record, we have names built over time and families and friends that are hurting over these unending accusations. Also for the record, the party has never got money from Museveni's regime as we are accused. The only money that the party receives from government of Uganda through the National Electoral Commission is legal and has always been fully accounted for. We understand the tension within the party over the leadership positions in the impending internal elections and the interests at stake. It's only moral right to accuse somebody and substantiate the accusation to prove it. Alongside this accusation is a reckless statement by the Honorable Ibrahim Semuju, my younger brother, suggesting that the party is at the verge of being taken to Museveni by the Secretary General, just like leaders in the Democratic Party and the UPC did. Honorable Semuju has not been in the party long enough to have felt the amount of sacrifice endured to found and sustain it, probably because he only joined it a few years ago. Even as a practicing journalist, he seemed not to take note of the rough journey the current leadership has taken to bring this party where it is now. He can be forgiven because he still has a lot to learn. On internal elections as a conflict area, I would like to inform the country that NEC sitting on 12th May 2023 passed an election roadmap and guidelines. Later were approved. This set in motion an electoral process that will be run independently by our party electoral commission. NEC sitting on 16th June 2023 debated a possible extension of actual elections, and upon approval of a motion moved by Virginia Mgenyi, the election roadmap was extended to allow time to resolve internal disputes. This extension of the roadmap is now being implemented, and our election in the villages will commence on 21st July 2023. I would like to make a clarion call for our accusers to participate in this election. We will not allow anybody to fight a democratic process, because it is upon this that we have one of the greatest leadership democratic credentials ever in the politics of this country. A new accusation, unfortunately, by Honorable Semuju is that ISO is compiling, ISO has been recruited in compiling the FDC party register. As per the party constitution, Article 15, every party member shall register at their village, which is the party branch and the nucleus. Therefore, we need to understand that these registers were actually identified by the party, district party chairpersons and the leadership in the districts. It is therefore one of the greatest insults for any member of the party, most especially a senior member who speaks for us, to go and even suggest that ISO is in control of the party. All of us as the FDC are duty bound to protect the name of the party, and any allegations leveled against any party leader should be truthful and provable. The FDC party is implementing the roadmap to elect new leaders from the village up to the National Delegates Conference, who shall elect the new NEC in November 2023. These allegations that are intended to put to disrepute the leadership and the membership of the FDC are not going to be taken lightly. And as president of the FDC, I am going to move for disciplinary action to be taken against these errant colleagues of ours. Now, I would like to turn my attention as I conclude to the proponents of the attacks on the FDC. They have said a lot of things that they cannot prove, not knowing that they also have skeletons in their closets that we can prove. I take note of the threats by my deputy Elias Lukwago, who is mobilizing for violence during the forthcoming National Council. This is something new in the culture of the FDC that he wants to introduce here. I appeal to my comrades to learn the new culture to which he was ushered in about 2 years ago. I have, of course, the record of the Lord Mayor is very clear. You know, he's been hopping from organization to organization, and this is being done for political expedience. He thought he would be a mercenary in the FDC, but we do not have room for any mercenary here. I took exception to the alleged dealings between Lord Mayor Lukwago with General Saleh. It was public knowledge. You displayed documents in the media and everywhere where General Saleh threatened to withdraw his political support in a handwritten document on ordinary paper. We got concerned about that. And naturally, as the chief executive of this party, I had questions to ask. When I raised this matter with him, he got angry, personal, and almost physical. He told me that this matter was between him and General Saleh, and I should keep off it. So I decided to step back and see whether this would be resolved between the two. But as far as I understand, it's not yet a resolved matter. As Deputy President coming from Uganda, he is expected to provide leadership in the running of the party programs in the region. Unfortunately, he has been reluctant and resisted implementation of activities of the party in Uganda, instead preferring to be in cohort with the National Unity Platform. He has also not been receptive to defiance and activism, because I would imagine that being a person who is in control of the city of Kampala, he should have been our frontline soldier in activism. But all we see about him is putting on good suits and running to court whenever we activists are slaughtered in the streets of Kampala. Our spokesperson has misused his office as a platform to attack the party. And as I said earlier, he has failed to keep the image of the party and deserves disciplinary action. We have received information about the financing of the Nsambia meeting from suspicious sources. Some of the people who claim to have financed the meeting have never contributed a single penny to the well-being of the FDC. Today they are masquerading, they are saying, you know, they love FDC, and you know, they contributed almost 100 million to the running of that activity. It is common knowledge in the public that the Honorable Semuju remains one of the most traveled members of Parliament. I have received complaints from some members of Parliament that the Chief Whip is taking foreign trips from them, some of whom have never traveled since they came to this Parliament, the 11th Parliament. And we do not know how this is happening. We, as the leadership here, call for calm amongst the FDC party members. This is our party, for which we have invested our youthful energies and lives, and we shall never sell it to anyone. at any amount of billions of shillings as accused. With humility, we implore you to build strong grassroots structures on which the present and future leaders of our party shall stand. I see the group there clamoring for leadership here, wanting to destroy this party using that mode to ascend to leadership. What do they want to do? To come and preside over a destroyed party? I think they should rethink their steps. Before anybody hangs us, we are humbly appealing to our comrades who have chosen to accuse us. Don't be the judges in your own case. With the accusations on our heads, we shall be coming to you, our party members, in your respective localities, in the hills and the valleys of this country, in the nooks of this country, to defend your party and to defend ourselves. In conclusion, we are well aware of both our friends and adversaries. Of course, NRM under Museveni cannot be our friends. They can't. And this is the reason why, despite the opportunity to participate in IPOD, even at the highest level, we have shunned meeting Mr. Museveni either in public or in private. We will cherish and support our friends while continuing the fight against this dictatorial regime that has sucked the lives of Ugandans. I thank you very much. One Uganda, one people, one people, one Uganda. We'll ask that the cameras now face the Secretary General, who is the custodian of many things in this party. Is this one too short?
Are you ready?
Yeah. Red.
Huh? Very. Well, the president has been spoken. What do you want to
Allegation.
Allegation. Of course, leaders of democratic change at all levels, members of the Forum for Democratic Change, our supporters, our friends of the media, Ugandans at large. Of course, I greet you and thank you for making time off your busy schedules to be with us here today for this press briefing. And of course, the boss man, the party president, has spoken. And I hope my job is only adding a few things which touch me personally. On Monday this week, a section of our members during what they termed as a consultative meeting, just decided to make it attacks. It was an attack meeting, not a consultative meeting, towards us leaders of the FDC. And this is the reason why we have decided, as accountable leaders, to come out here today and offer the true line of the story. I want to thank the president. After the attacks, or during the attacks, he had to ask my colleague, Centenary, Honorable Centenary Franco Robert, to come here in Najana Kumbi because we were not available, because the spokesperson was not available to address the Monday press conference, to address the press, and to continue to engage with the people of the media and the people of Uganda at large. Of course, these attacks on the President, Honorable Patrick Amuriati, and myself as Secretary General, did not start on Monday. Did not start on Monday. And maybe I can say here, I have built a name the entire of my life. Since I was born, I built a name. I was taken to school. I have been educated very well at a high level. And for your information, I'm an international financial management consultant who is consulted with all big organizations, including World Bank and IMF. I am a businessman, a successful businessman, and I am among the largest taxpayers in this country. Largest. I have a family, I have a wife and children. And when somebody attacks you like this, it looks bad. I have relatives, I have friends. And that applies to the party president, who is a real engineer, with a family and friends and relatives. For a while now, we have faced constant attacks, blackmail, and propaganda by people who do not wish FDC well, but are driven by selfish ambitions for power and the prospect of getting rich by assuming leadership of the party. If they were real genuine members of the party, you don't go and destroy the party in public. You come and fight internally. It is like a wife and a husband. You, instead of fighting in your bedroom, you decided to go and fight on the street where everybody sees you and you are naked. So those are people who are selfish and don't wish this party well. This group of people have made it their mission to bring us down, in the end tarnishing the image of the party they profess to be part of. As FDC has got a very robust conflict management system through which we resolve issues without necessarily affecting our cohesion, our togetherness, our cohesion. On many occasions, using these systems and mechanisms, we have tried to bring our brothers and sisters on table to understand what their grievances are and address them in-house. This is what is expected of a reputable political organization. We are, however, shocked with the world allegations which were said during the Samba meeting. They were real wives. You recall one member of parliament got up and said, he came here, he had to wait for me to go out of the country so that he can wait for Kaija to sign his form. All of you remember we were in COVID. No plane was going out of this country and no plane coming in. A whole energetic, heavy MP makes such an allegation. You will know that this was just an attack on me as a person. Without anything, but just attack. Of course, the meeting was basically Nadala, Amuriati. The whole discussion during the Sunday meeting and the previous attacks are anchored on falsehoods and a very dangerous ploy to damage the reputations we have built over a long time, which is very painful. We have built this over a long time. Of course, Honorable Semuju Nganda, our Lord Mayor Rukwako, and others have continuously peddled claims that we received large sums of money from President Museveni, what they called unknown sources, to hand over FDC to him. This is just pedestrian, just thinking from this faction. If this is a political party with structures and stakeholders, it's not a personal property that we just hand over to anyone. I want to tell you our Constitution, Article 13. It says any member who goes to another party ceases to be a member of what? Of the FDC. Sebugwa who went, she was a deputy president, she ceased to be a member. Which structure did she go with? Even her family structures, I'm sure she never went again. So I cannot, or I'm thinking that carry a structure on a pickup, on a road to take to Museveni. Unless for them they have a formula how they want to carry it on a pickup, and they will tell us. Secondly, who alleges must prove. Why can't they lay evidence on the table for all they see or they saw? Why are they not putting evidence? Why are you alleging? It is because they are alleging to people who have reputation. And they believe that if they soil us, the public will not trust us. But we want to state, the public has tested us, the international world has tested us, and they know which type of person we are and they trust us. Honorable Semoja and others have also claimed, I made a deal with President Museveni to hand over FDC in the exchange for Bank of Uganda Governor, job now Minister of Finance. This allegation has been around since 2012. I want to respond by saying my qualification, my experience and expert are very sufficient to have those positions. Who doubts me? However, no one has ever approached me with that offer, and I'm not interested in working with himself. Whatever you are saying is just peddling falsehoods for their personal reasons. In fact, if I want to go to work, World Bank is waiting for me. World Bank is waiting for me. And I consult from so many banks, World Bank, international banks. They allege that we used the miscellaneous money to procure vehicles for 2021 general election. These vehicles were paid over a period of time, rather than by a single deposit. And we have evidence we're going to share with you. They were paid over a period of time. These attacks are glaring, deliberated to dollars, so that Honorable Samuel and his clique have their way in taking over the party for selfish ambitions. These armed with the power of the FDC members shall not allow it to happen. I want to call on members of FDC. You should not allow this to happen. You shouldn't. You have heard these are newcomers. One is about 2 years, another one is less than 10 years, but they are here wanting to take us. We have been in the trenches for the entire life. Like we mentioned earlier, whenever someone just click has made an allegation without providing any evidence, despite constant requests to submit the same. If this is not malice, what is it? Why don't you bring evidence? You say on such and such a day, you saw us in the State House speaking money, but you cannot provide. As human beings, we are tempted to follow the path they have taken in the past month of maligning us. However, as seasoned, respectable leaders, we shall not. We are respectable. We shall only provide the evidence to confirm who is who. We have decided to share something for you to appreciate of the person and the character of Honorable Moju in fraudulent drawing public funds in millions of shillings for activities he has never undertaken. We're going to share with you. In only less than 6 months, a man got money from the public 378 million. If we give you 400 years, you can run away. He claimed to have trouble. If you get information we're getting in some of those areas, he never traveled. He was in one country, in 3 countries on one same day, which are far apart. Far apart. He tells us that Museveni should declare his relatives as employed. In Parliament as a chief whip, as now a whip, who are those working and being paid in his office by Parliament? Never say you have a piece in your, a speck in your eye when you have a log in your eye. All this we're going to share with you, and you are going to do it for your own analysis to confirm what a leader you have who claims to be clean, yet and we have more documents we shall share. For us, we have evidence. We are waiting for theirs. Let us go back to the memorial lane. Of course, some of you don't know, in 2001, we participated in the election. Our president was Dr. Besigye. We did 2011, we did 2006, 2011, 2016. These general elections were when Dr. Besigye was a presidential candidate, and were very well funded. I want to state I was the deputy treasurer. I have evidence and information. The worst funded election is of 2021. The other one was over 10 billion, 15, but this one was not even 3 billion. Why? Because the so-called who would have been able to assist were not there. And why? Because it was in Amuriati standing and was properly abandoned. In Kampala here, I will give an example. Lord Mayor Lukwago ran out from every candidate of FDC. Every candidate of FDC, including Amuriati. In fact, we have a petition which says he went against the party. If you cannot support your own, now you want to come to support who? Amuriati suffered. That applies to my brother Nanda Semuju. He ran away. But I want to give you a simple experiment to show who are those who get public resources. Who made billboards for work? You remember the billboards? Yes. Who made them? Who made billboards for Semuju? We have got somebody who says those billboards, each was over up. Each of them spent over 1 billion. Semuju spent over what? 1 billion. Show me the kiosk which sells airtime which belongs to Semuju. Have you ever seen this kiosk of MTN or airtime? So where did he get the money? So I told you that we have been funding elections. It has never been an issue. All those periods, nobody has ever questioned where was the source of what? Funding. But in the 2021 is where the question is what? This double standard should not be accepted, and we shall not agree. The people who talk with their tongues folded. During the day they are saying something, and the night they are saying a different story. Honorable Semuju is the biggest beneficiary of government money. You recall when he was a chief government whip, and now he is now opposition whip. No, that's a whip, chief opposition whip. Yeah, chief. He was given a vehicle with even a red car and a field with a field card. But also they gave him cash 200 million. If he loves Uganda and FDC, why did they either bring the 200 million in FDC or return it to the consolidated fund? Because he had already what? I have mentioned about the people he employs. I want you to go and find out who his relatives are before he asks himself his relatives he has employed. I want to state and I want to tell you the people of Uganda, and I want to ask Sare. He raised the issue to Lukwago. I know Lukwago goes to court or even on a smallest thing. Why hasn't he gone to court? That clearly shows there is truth, and I want you to ask General Sare to give me authority to prosecute this case up to the end, because I am one of the best investigators in this world. And I will tell you, he's a chief beneficiary of public resources. And
that's issue number one. Issue number two I would like to bring to your attention is this. There were certain activities which were lined up to be done within the 4 weeks of the suspension of these activities of the elections. Number one, the Elders Reconciliation and Investigation Committee meeting dealing on the matter of the allegations on money having come from NRM or from President Museveni and to FDC, and particularly into the hands of our Secretary General Honorable Nandala Mafaki. This issue was brought into the public domain publicly here during the National Council meeting, and it was brought by our founding president, retired Colonel Dr. Besigye, in a meeting. And you know, there is what is called the right of reply. Dr. Besigye spoke when he was given the time to speak in a keynote address. Of course, he brought out what you already know. Then Honorable Nandala was there, I was there, we were there. He was required to reply. The right of reply is natural to everybody. When Honorable Nandala came to reply, he started replying one by one. And maybe by luck, this meeting took place in the headquarters, and then Honorable Nandala brought some documents. As the reply was still going on, people started murmuring, debating, responding, like this. Then the elder said, ceasefire. They stopped Honorable Nandala. They stopped the members from discussing that issue, and they said this issue should be gone into the hands of elders for investigation and for reconciliation. That was what happened. The president was asked to form a committee, which he did. And within the 4 weeks of the suspension of the activities as per the next resolution, that committee, chaired by Dr. Nabisho, was supposed to be given time to do its work. That work has been done within the 4 weeks. The report, we understand, has been finished, and it is awaiting to be presented. Also, after completion of that report, the National Council of FDC was supposed to be summoned, where this report would be presented, and this summon has been done already. We have been informed through several means, including the mass media, the newspapers, that this National Council meeting is taking place on the 28th. We are waiting for that report to be presented. Another thing which was supposed to take place within this period of time was a meeting between the working committee of FDC, chaired by the party president, and the members of parliament, FDC parliamentary caucus. This meeting also took place, regardless of the outcome of the meeting after the meeting took place. Now, what has not yet taken place is the NEC retreat. And the NEC retreat, maybe it has not been put because of course I don't know, but the people who called it, in reality, should have told you. But you look at us now. There are many things coming together at the same time. The elections need money. The National Council needs money. NEC retreat, if you take all of us members of NEC, and the retreat, by the way, is supposed to be for like 3-4 days outside here and in the places where we usually go, it is also very expensive. I can see that most likely what has stopped the activity of the retreat from taking place is finance. The priority now is to go towards the election, grassroots election. So my brothers, really, don't peg your issues on this. Lastly, on this point, we are at a tight corner. Some people raise alarm that the leadership of Engineer Abatabukidde Amuriati Ebibye and all of us who are sitting here should have expired to do an election around the time of COVID. And that election, 2020, this election should have been the National Delegates Conference where we should have elected someone. Remember, the National Delegates Conference was not possible during the COVID. Parliament of Uganda, in the interest of protecting public health, passed a resolution that all political parties should not have any gathering, such as a national delegates conference. They should find a way of adjusting their administrative issues without such a big meeting. National Council, which was smaller than the delegates conference, came and sat and said, Engineer Abatabukidde Amuriati Ebibye, the president of FDC and your team, we have given you 3 more years to continue running the party. And that's why the office is here. But these 3 years are coming to an end on the 24th of November 2023. If we don't have the National Delegates Conference by that time, it means we shall run into a situation where FDC will not have a legally binding regime in office. There will be a constitutional crisis. We are now pressed against time not to go into that kind of situation. The National Delegates Conference requires 3 months notice in advance. Now you work backwards from November. 1, 2, 3 months will bring us to August. Are we together? Which is the next month, which means the notice of the Delegates Conference must be issued in August. Now, for the notice to be issued, there must be in between here a national council to set the agenda for the Delegates Conference. And for you to call that national council, you need also 1 month's notice to call that meeting. And for you to issue that notice, there must have been these activities of the grassroots election. You must have built the grassroots election, everything is ready, the list is here. Now you present to the chairman of National Council that we are ready for the National Delegates Conference. The list of the delegates all over the country are here. Because what is important is the list of delegates. Without that list of delegates, the National Delegates Conference, that meeting of the National Council cannot take place. Now, if you continue postponing these elections of the grassroots elections, you are endangering the National Delegacy Conference and you are creating a disease, you are breeding a disease of constitutional crisis. Really, this leadership of the party here must be congratulated. You members of the party, we are passing through a crisis. We are balancing like this, keeping the morale of the people. Not all is lost. Are we together? My message is